Welcome to a lesson with Dr. Powell. In this video, we're going to look at 3 different ways to take the derivative of this function. Y is equal to x squared plus 3 over sine x. All right, way number 1 is kind of a standard way of doing things that people are used to. The quotient rule. It's a fraction, right? So something like if it's f over g, then the derivative, this is often just memorized without even giving a thought for why this works, f prime g minus f g prime all over g squared. All right, so let's use that real quick. This is method number 1. All right, so take the derivative of the top, 2x, then we have sine x, then minus the top is x squared plus 3 times the derivative of the bottom, which is cosine x, and all over g squared, which is sine, which would be sine squared. And for kicks, I'm just, we could put this all over sine squared x like this, which is sine of x quantity squared, or we can unadd this fraction or distribute the division to this term and that term, so that it would look like this. And I will do this in order to compare the result with the other methods. All right, so this was method number 1. Great. Okay, so we just used the quotient rule. All right, quotient rule. Method number 2, we could use the product rule. All right, or maybe if you like a boxing type technique. X squared plus 3 times quantity sine x to the negative 1 power. All right, so we think of this times that. First, take the derivative of this part, assuming that this part's like behaving constantly. So then we end up getting 2x times sine x to the negative 1, which, yeah, I'll just write it that way. Sine x to the negative 1. Then plus this part behaving like constant times the derivative of this part. So this part's just hanging out, and the derivative of this part, we'll think of something to the negative 1 chain rule, right? Negative 1 comes down to the front, and then you have that same something raised to the negative 2 power using the power rule. But since the variable sine x wasn't really x, then what do? We multiply by the derivative of it. So we multiply the derivative of this variable part, which would be cosine x. Now compare these two results. These are actually the same. You notice this whole expression, see the sine x to the negative 2, that just comes down to the denominator, and it'll look exactly like that. Now what about this thing? I mean, we can rewrite this as 2x over sine x, right? But isn't this the same as here? If we cancel out one of the sine x's, it's the exact same. So really we get the same result by using product rule or the quotient rule. You can always use product rule in this way and never use the quotient rule, and you'll be perfectly fine. All right, so that was method number 2. So say product rule way. Method number 3, how can we do this yet another way? All right, so let's write this down and look at it for a minute. Y is equal to x squared plus 3 sine x. Why don't we just take the natural log of both sides? Natural log of y is equal to the natural log of x squared plus 3 minus the natural log of sine x. Now take the derivative of both sides. This side, it's going to be 1 over y, but with the chain rule, you have to multiply by the derivative of y prime. We're looking for y prime. This side, it's 1 over x squared plus 3, but remember to multiply by the derivative of the inside, 2x, minus, what's the derivative of this? 1 over sine x, but remember to multiply by the derivative of the inside, times cosine x. Okay, now to finish this off, we're looking for y prime. We'll just multiply both sides by y. Right, so we get a cancellation. Now, remember what y is. Y is the original fraction that we were dealing with over here. So x squared plus 3 over sine x. And when that comes into play, notice when that multiplies in, this top will cancel with this. So x squared plus 3 over sine x multiplied to this term, the x squared plus 3 will cancel, and we'll be left with the sine x in the bottom. So it'll look like 2x over sine x. Hey, that looks like this term. Okay, now, when this comes and multiplies in over here, now look what's going to happen. On the denominator, sine x, you're going to get sine x squared. Beautiful. Okay, and then on the top, x squared plus 3 and cosine x. Oh my goodness. It's the exact same thing that we had here. So, for kicks, here are 3 different ways of approaching a quotient. Again, pick your favorite one. Perhaps many people like the quotient rule because it's a simple way of thinking about it. And if you like to memorize formulas and things. But there's the product rule way is kind of cool, especially if you're thinking about my boxing, like with my boxing technique. I have that at another video, and the quotient and the chain rule. So it simplifies things so you don't have to memorize as many rules. This method is also kind of instructive and fun. So you just change a quotient into something that's not a quotient and then work with it. Anyways, so there are your 3 different ways, and there may be more, but that's it for now. Thanks for watching.